ये ना will start soon दिखाई नहीं दे रहा in the poster NCPEDP में now it is coming. Yeah, okay. संगीता जी मेरी आवाज आ रही है आपको?
आ रही है अरमान जी, आपकी आवाज आ रही है. Can you see me?
Antara, I can see you.
I can't see you. I can see you now. I can see you now. Asifa, I've joined, but yeah, I've joined now. Arman ji is in front of me. But only thing is, I needed somebody to tell me when to start. कॉल कर दीजिए या व्हाट्सएप पे कर दीजिए. I'll keep it in front of me. Yeah. Fine. I'm following the new agenda now, right? And you have to tell me, अभी उसके लिए time है, but you have to tell me what happens around chief guests.
इंटरप्रेटर स्विच कौन करेगा या हम खुद कर लें, बिकॉज आपने हमें को होस्ट बना दिया है. हेलो, आई वाज आस्किंग कि इंटरप्रेटर्स जब स्विच करेंगे तो उनकी वीडियो पिन कौन करेगा, या हम आपको चैट बॉक्स में इंफॉर्मेशन भेज देंगे दैट who is to be pinned next. मतलब हर 15 मिनट्स में चेंज होगा, तो आप खुद हर 15 मिनट्स में चेंज कर दोगे, या मैं जो इंटरप्रेटर को स्क्रीन पे आना होगा वो मैसेज भेज देंगे उसी टाइम, और उस टाइम आप उनको स्पॉटलाइट कर सकते हैं.
Namaskar, everybody. I think we should be starting in about a minute or so from now. So please bear with us. Armanji, my audio is fine.
Good evening. Good evening.
Asipa.
Good evening.
Good evening, Sanya.
Good evening, sir.
Why did you call? मैंने ऑफ किया हुआ है. आपने क्यों कॉल किया? Okay, so okay, you message me. I will then switch on my video at that time and start. मेरा ऑफ है अभी.
Sangeeta ji, we can start.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Can hear you. Sangeeta ji, we can start. Yes.
Hi, Saurabh. Hi, Sangeeta. How are you?
I'm very good, thank you. How are you, sir?
Thank you.
Namaskar and a warm welcome to each one of you to the 21st NCPEDP-Mindtree Helen Keller Awards. It's wonderful to be joined by such great luminaries. We'd like to welcome our chief guest, Shri Dharmendra Pradhan ji, Honorable Minister of Petroleum and Natural Gas and Steel, Government of India. It's lovely to have Mr. Panesh Rao, Chief People Officer, Mindtree, Ms. Arundhati Bhattacharya, Chairperson and CEO, Salesforce India, Mr. Saurabh Chandra, Trustee, NCPEDP and Chairman, MCX, of course, Mr. Som Mittal, Chairman, NCPEDP, Ms. Ira Singhal, if she's joined us, and all participants and awardees. Friends, instituted in 1999 to start a discourse on equal opportunities for persons with disabilities in the area of employment, Helen Keller Awards completed 21 years this year, supported by Mindtree for the last 5 years. The award recognizes individuals and organizations who are role models and have created a level playing ground for people with disabilities in terms of employment opportunities. In the days of the pandemic, the discourse takes on even greater meaning as the entire status quo about the employment sector seems to have changed. The COVID-19 pandemic has disrupted the traditional practices and has offered innovative ways of working and providing reasonable accommodations, enabling people with or without disabilities to remain a part of the mainstream workforce. However, many of those with more limited means and protection, such as persons with disabilities, employed in the informal sector or diverse work arrangements, have been the least able to face the consequences of this crisis, with their existing vulnerabilities being exposed and inequalities entrenched. Thus, it has by all means become imperative to acknowledge and celebrate the contributions of individuals as well as organizations who have thought beyond the conventional practice to build a future of work that is fairer, more inclusive, more effective in cushioning the consequences of future crises on jobs and incomes. As we are aware, these awards are always in three categories: role model persons with disabilities, role model supporter of increased employment opportunities for persons with disabilities, and role model companies or NGOs and institutions. Friends, I have an announcement to make actually. So for all the speakers this afternoon, I would request you to be mindful of switching on and off both your video as well as your audio. Request you to please have a look at that at the base of your screen. I'm sure you're familiar with that. And secondly, we are getting used to hosting events completely on a digital platform, but they are coming with their own sets of issues and problems. So please do bear with us in case there is any technical glitch, which is beyond our control, but we have a sound technical team which should come to our rescue just in case there is a need. To set the ball rolling, I'd like to request Mr. Arman Ali, Executive Director, NCPEDP, to please welcome everybody formally.
Thank you, Sangeeta ji. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you, each one of you, for being here with us today to celebrate the 21st NCPEDP-Mindtree Helen Keller Awards. Today, we will be joined later by Honorable Minister for Petroleum and Natural Gas and Steel and Government of India, Sri Dharmendra Pradhanji. I extend a warm welcome to him. Mrs. Arundhati Bhattacharya, Chairperson and CEO, Salesforce India. Mr. Panish Rao, Chief People's Officer, Mindtree. Welcome, sir. Mr. Saurabh Chandra, Trustee, NCPEDP, and the Chairman Jury for the Helen Keller Award, the 21st Helen Keller Award. And Mr. Somital, Chairman, NCPEDP. What a year this has been. Who thought that 2020 would be the way it is, and how this has impacted all lives across the globe, irrespective of nationalities, gender, disability, religion, your economic strata. And when we initially started working during the COVID times to understand the kind of impact it has had on people with disability, it is quite disturbing to learn that a lot of people with disabilities in unorganized sector losing out on livelihood opportunities and so on. But on the other hand, you see the whole world celebrating the fact that technology has enabled this ability to work home, and this is thing which people with disability has been demanding from decades as a reasonable accommodation for people with disability to work from home and have flexible work hours and so on and so forth. But it was still a struggle, and it was not something which was considered very easily by most organizations across the globe. But when it affected the whole world, I think this is something really celebrated, and a lot of companies have changed their policies and now making work from home part of their policy. Now, when I talk about people with disability and employment and the kind of employment that people with disabilities largely do, and the concept of work from home, is it applicable for them? Largely, if you see people with disability working in the retail or hospitality industry, or for that matter, anything which is not to do with technology, how many would have the luxury to work from home? This is something which is really bothering all of us in the sector, and how this work from home, because largely roles you see people with disability who work are in the retail, where is a lot of interaction with customers, or in the back end thing, or in the hospitality, who are working in cafes or hotels or such industries, who are large employers for people with disability. So this is a time around, in this time around, I think a lot of us have got into thinking that what is the future? If this is the new normal, how will people with disabilities will be able to align themselves to this kind of a new normal, and if employment continue to be in the way it is for a certain categories of people with certain skill set. So there is a need to rethink about how we need to go ahead from here. The NCPEDP-Mindtree Helen Keller Award, recognizes such role models who, during these times of turbulent, when it affected everybody's life, not only professionally but also emotionally and economically, there's some people who held on to their ground and went beyond their call of duty to further the cause of people with disability, to promote employment of people with disabilities. And it is these people who NCPEDP-Mindtree Helen Keller Award recognizes. And my heartiest congratulations to each of the winners. And I take pride in sharing with all of you that over the years, NCPEDP has been able to, reach out to a large number of people who are the change makers. And this is no more limited to the big metro cities like Bangalore, Delhi, Gurgaon, and Pune. This year awardees, you would be pleased to know, they also come from small cities like Mahabaleshwar, they come from Raipur, they come from small districts like Chikkabalapura in Karnataka, or far in the northeast like Guwahati. And exemplary work, each one of them from diverse background. And I think we celebrate the leadership of the people with disabilities and the equal opportunity employers. And for showing us the way that even in this turbulent and difficult times, there is so much that can be done. So I congratulate all the winners once again, and welcome all of you. And thank you for being with us and being patient with us during this time we took to start the webinar or this session. Thank you so much. Over to you, Sangeeta ji.
Thank you very much, Armanji, for that wonderful welcome. Times indeed are very challenging, as we can all experience. Friends, apart from partnering with this great event, Mindtree is a global technology consulting and services company, helping enterprises marry scale with agility to achieve competitive advantage. From Mindtree, we're honored to have Mr. Panish Rao, Chief People Officer, Mindtree. He is a career human resources professional with a successful track record spanning across industries and geographies. His rich experience spans the entire HR spectrum, including strategy, career development, organizational development, compensation, and benefits, and mergers and acquisitions. Earlier, Panish was with L&T Technology Services, having led their HR function globally. And prior to LTTS, he was the HR leader for Atos India and Middle East. May I request you, Mr. Panish Rao, to please deliver the keynote address.
Thank you, Sangeeta ji, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for inviting me. It's an honor to be sharing the dais with such an august gathering. Mindtree is extremely honored to be associated with NCPEDP for this important cause. The NCPEDP Mindtree Helen Keller Award aims to recognize and honor the exemplary work done by individuals and organizations towards improving the lives of people with disabilities by providing equal opportunities and celebrating their achievements. Mindtree as an organization deeply resonates with equality, respect, and potential of every individual and has always strived to create a culture of inclusion, both internally and externally. Mindtree Foundation was created with the aim of making a deep and lasting impact on education, employment, and creating a better world for people with disabilities that characterizes our spirit of giving back to the society, which lies at a level much deeper than just doing a CSR. At Mindtree Foundation, we have a special charter to support people with disabilities. Since 2010, we have identified and supported over 5,000 children with disabilities in Karnataka and Tamil Nadu. As a non-discriminatory equal opportunity employer, we believe in creating the right organizational environment, processes, and frameworks that promote sensitivity, empathy, and inclusion. Given the fact that Mindtree and NCPEDP share a similar vision, it's a pleasure to collaborate to create equal opportunities and enabling work environment. I want to take this opportunity to congratulate the winners of this year's NCPEDP-Mindtree Helen Keller Awards and wish them the very best. Your efforts at spearheading this critical initiative, which has positively influenced many lives, are commendable. I sincerely hope that this endeavor will pave the way for a society that provides equal opportunities and equal treatment, empowering every individual to reach their true potential. Together, we hope to create a greater impact in the coming years. We believe that this is only the beginning. We have a long way to go. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Panish Rao, for being part of this meeting and for that great speech. Friends, the objective of the NCPEDP Helen Keller Awards was to start a discourse on equal opportunities for persons with disabilities in the area of employment at a time when no one was even thinking about it. Organizations and employees with disabilities would become brand ambassadors for the cause of employment of persons with disabilities and take the momentum forward, and role models would be identified and celebrated in an attempt to motivate and encourage others. Over the past 20 years, these awards have come to be recognized as the most prestigious Indian benchmark for honoring people with disabilities and others for promoting employment opportunities for people with disabilities. This is the 5th year of the NCPEDP-Mindtree Helen Keller Awards. Each year, a total of 10 awards are given away, 3 in the 2 individual categories and 4 for role model companies and organizations. So for category A, which is role model persons with disabilities from within the disability sector and outside who have been active as ambassadors of the cause of employment for people with disabilities and are a positive role model for others. In category A, the first award goes to Ammu Mohan, Senior Process Analyst, Refinitiv India Shared Services Private Limited. Ammu is an international para-badminton player. Ammu has set the benchmarks both in sports and corporate careers. On the professional front, she works as a senior process analyst with Refinitiv, and during her professional career, she has won multiple Best Team Performer Recognition Awards. Ammu has won about 39 medals in gold, silver, and bronze, both at the national and international levels. Ladies and gentlemen, Ammu Mohan.
Hi, I'm Amu Mohan, winner of NCPEDP-Mindtree Helen Keller Award for 2020 for Category A, Role Model Person with Disabilities. I am overwhelmed to be winning this prestigious award. This platform ensures to recognize the right talent, which in turn helps in promoting the employment for people with disabilities. I am an international para badminton player, ranking number 1 at national, number 17 at international, and number 15 at Paralympics. I started my sports career in the year 2013 and have bagged about 39 medals in gold, silver, and bronze, both at national and international level put together. I work as a senior process analyst with Refinitiv. Over the years in my career, I have won multiple Best Performer Recognition Award. I would proudly say that I am able to give my best and perform at par to my fellow colleagues. Sports and corporate are two wings to achieve my dream. I am happy to be doing my best and justice to both the stream. It would not be wrong if I say one feeds my soul and the other feeds my stomach. Once again, I would like to thank for recognizing me with this award.
Congratulations, Amu. Karthik Sahni, AI scientist at Microsoft, co-founder and CEO at iSTEM. A computer science graduate of Stanford University, Karthik co-founded Project STEM Access, now iSTEM, that provides technical training, mentorship, and hands-on opportunities to visually impaired math and science students. iSTEM now has nearly 1,200 students enrolled with disabilities in 10 countries. Karthik is also the first visually impaired student to pursue science education in high school in India. Ladies and gentlemen, Karthik Sahni.
Hi, my name is Karthik Sahani, and I'm the co-founder and CEO at iSTEM, where our vision is to empower 1/5 of the global population of people with disabilities using technology and community services. We work in the area of document and audio-video accessibility for people with disabilities, and also run mentorship, recruitment, and technical training programs to help people with disabilities become more employable, especially in the tech sector. I would like to thank the jury of the NCPEDP-Mindtree Helen Keller Awards for selecting me in the role model category. It is indeed an honor to be selected by an organization that is redefining the potential and perception of people with disabilities in our society every single day. Thank you.
Kiran Nayak, Secretary, Karnataka Vikala Chetanara Samaste. Kiran Nayak B is an Adivasi transgender man with a disability who has been working on sexuality and disability issues. Since 2012, Kiran has been helping people with disabilities to secure and stabilize their livelihood by mentoring and referring candidates to job fairs and the government for contractual employment and private organizations as well. He has also assisted candidates through counseling, training on computer basics, etiquette, and communication. Between 2012 and 2020, he has assisted around 1,000 persons with disabilities in Karnataka, Telangana, Telangana and Andhra Pradesh to secure employment in various government, state and central as well as private organizations. Ladies and gentlemen, Kiran Nayak.
Namaste, I'm really happy to share and thanks to NCPEDP ಸಂಸ್ಥೆಗೆ ತುಂಬ ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ಸ್ ಹೇಳಕ್ಕೆ ಇಷ್ಟಪಡ್ತೀನಿ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ವೆರಿ ಹ್ಯಾಪಿ ಟು ಹೆಲೆನ್ ಕಿಲ್ಲರ್ ಅವಾರ್ಡ್ ಅನೌನ್ಸ್ ರೋಲ್ ಮಾಡಲ್ ಆಗ್ತೀನಿ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಎಜುಕೇಷನ್ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮಲ್ಲಿ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಜಾಬ್ ಎಂಪ್ಲಾಯ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ತುಂಬ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್. ಅದನ್ನು ನಾನು ಇನ್ನೂ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕೆ ಅವಕಾಶ ಬಂದಿದೆ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಡಿಸಬಿಲಿಟಿ ವುಮೆನ್ಸ್ನ ಒಂದು ಸ್ಥಾನಕ್ಕೆ ತಗೊಬರ್ತೀನಿ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಒಂದು ನನಗೆ ಖುಷಿ ಇದೆ. ಡಿಸಬಿಲಿಟಿ ವುಮೆನ್ಸ್ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ ವಿಕಲಚೇತನರ ಸಂಸ್ಥೆ ಜೊತೆ ಇನ್ನೂ ಬಲವಾದ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕೆ ನಾನು ರೆಡಿಯಾಗಿದ್ದೀನಿ. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ತುಂಬ ಖುಷಿ ಇದೆ, ಹ್ಯಾಪಿಯಾಗಿ ಈ ಅವಾರ್ಡ್ನ ತಗೊಳ್ಳೋಕ್ಕೆ ರೆಡಿ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ. ನಿಜವಾಗ್ಲೂ ಎಲ್ಲ ಟೀಮ್ ಯಾರು ನಾನು ಆಯ್ಕೆ ಮಾಡಿದಾರೋ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆಲ್ಲರಿಗೆ ತುಂಬ ತುಂಬ ಹೃದಯಪೂರ್ವಕ ಧನ್ಯವಾದ ಹೇಳೋಕ್ಕೆ ಇಷ್ಟಪಡ್ತೀನಿ. ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು ಸೋ ಮಚ್ ಆಲ್.
Kiran Nayak there, acknowledging the joy of this accolade in the form of the prestigious NCPEDP Helen Keller Award for 2020. The next in the category, Ajay Minocha, Senior Credit Risk Analyst, Credit Officer, Deutsche Bank. Ajay is the first visually impaired person from India to receive the Chartered Financial Analyst Charter from CFA Institute, USA. At Deutsche Bank, Ajay is an active member of the Diversity and Inclusion Working Committee that ensures a barrier-free working environment and compliance with relevant regulatory standards. Today, Ajay has more than 5 years of experience in the banking and financial services industry, and his successful professional career has opened a new career option, Credit Risk Analyst, for totally visually impaired persons. Ladies and gentlemen, Ajay Minocha.
I am Ajay Minocha. I currently work as a Senior Credit Risk Analyst with Deutsche Bank. I have an overall work experience of 5 years in the banking and financial services industry. I have completed my MBA from IIM Indore and became the first blind person from India to receive CFA Charter from CFA Institute, USA. I am associated as an honorary secretary with Blind Graduates Forum of India, a Mumbai-based NGO working towards empowerment of persons with blindness. I volunteer as a mentor and trainer for persons with disabilities. This award not only gives me a recognition, but also helps me and my organization become the brand ambassadors towards inclusion of persons with disabilities and work towards their gainful employment opportunities. I look forward to guide more persons with disabilities to excel in their skill set and gain meaningful employment. Thank you.
Congratulations to everybody in category A. Friends, last year, to celebrate the 20 years of the Helen Keller Awards, a film had been prepared by NCPEDP. We now would like to present that film of 20 years of NCPEDP Helen Keller Awards. May we have the film, please?
It's been 2 decades since NCPEDP conceptualized the Helen Keller Awards to promote equal employment opportunities for people with disabilities. 2 decades of breaking stereotypes on the employment of people with disabilities. B.S. Nagesh, winner 2018, role model supporter for people with disabilities. Trend Hypermarket Private Limited, winner 2018, role model organization. Diathono Nakro, winner 2015, role model people with disability. Join us as we celebrate the achievers at NCPEDP-Mindtree Helen Keller Awards 2019 and be a part of this change. Log on to www.ncpedp.org for more details.
That was a short film on the 20 years of the NCPEDP Helen Keller Awards. Ladies and gentlemen, we are joined by Mr. Saurabh Chandra, Trustee NCPEDP. He was formerly Secretary in the Department of Industrial Policy and Promotion, Ministry of Commerce and Industry, and in the Ministry of Petroleum and Natural Gas, Government of India. Mr. Saurabh Chandra is currently a Public Interest Director and Chairman, Board of Directors of MCX, and an Independent Director on the boards of SBI Pension Funds Private Limited, VACMET India Limited, and JK Cements Limited. He is also a trustee of NCPEDP. May I request you, Mr. Saurabh Chandra, to address this August gathering.
Thank you, Sangeeta ji. Ladies and gentlemen, today is World Human Rights Day. And what could be a more befitting day to announce the 21st edition of the Helen Keller Awards, and also the 5th year when we are in partnership with Mindtree Limited. These awards were instituted in 1999. The situation for employment of disabled persons was rather dismal. 1 out of 200 employees in the public sector, 1 out of 400 employees in the private sector, and 1 out of 2,000 employees in the multinational corporation were disabled employees. Since then, we've come a long way, but we have a long way to go also. We see progress, but this progress is limited to a few sectors and limited geographies. The Right of Persons with Disabilities Act 2060 is perhaps one of the strongest disability legislations in the world and has opened up many new horizons. Who could have thought in 1999 that people with autism or those with intellectual and cognitive disabilities or people with multiple disabilities would be able to avail the opportunities provided by job reservations. The Act, as you are well aware, mandates 4% reservation and only one category of disabilities, that is people with blood disorders and chronic neurological disabilities, still do not find a mention in the list of reservations. However, the problem lies in the implementation with this Act. Maybe a lack of understanding, maybe awareness, maybe a belief that providing jobs to disabled persons comes at a high cost. It is this mindset which needs to be changed, this attitude which needs to be changed. Changing mindsets and attitudes is a difficult job, and we in NCPEDP realize that. However, what we know is that if accessibility is incorporated at the planning stage, it would perhaps cost just 1% of the budget. And that is what needs to be told to everybody. However, retrofitting comes at a higher cost. I've had the privilege of chairing the jury for the Helen Keller Award for 5 years now, and I've seen the path-breaking achievements by persons with different disabilities, provided they get the right support and accommodation. COVID-19 has thrown up difficult challenges, and it is important that the government and the private sector work in unison, plan for the new normal, for recovery and resurgence, so that no one is left behind. And that includes people with disabilities, the older people, and also people with temporary disabilities that would perhaps constitute about 20 to 25% of the population. It becomes imperative that this large population, experts on the issues get a seat on the table and their voices are heard. And the law of the land, the Right of Persons with Disabilities Act 2016, with its assurance of non-discrimination, accessibility, is implemented not just in letter but also in spirit with the seriousness that it deserves. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Saurabh Chandra. Thank you so much, Mr. Saurabh Chandra. Friends, it's indeed an honor to be joined by Ms. Ira Singhal, Joint Director, Department of Women and Child Development, and Joint Director, Department of Social Welfare, Government of Delhi. She is the first person with disability to top the prestigious Civil Services Examination in 2014. She is the brand ambassador of Niti Aayog and is on the National Panel for Accessible Elections, Election Commission of India. Request you, Ms. Ira Singhal, to please address this gathering.
Thank you so much, and thank you so much for having me. It was a wonderful experience being part of the jury. The kind of applications and the achievements that we saw were unparalleled. In fact, I think my criteria personally went from is this person good to, oh my God, this person is doing better than I thought I could in that situation. So the people that were selected, the companies, everybody has been doing brilliant work. And in a way, I wanted to select, I wanted to see those people get more publicity, their stories spread out to more people to inspire many more lives. And thank you so much for having this kind of platform where most of us who don't hear about others who are doing such great work will get to. I need to speak slower. Sorry. It was a wonderful experience, and the people who did not get selected, it's not that they weren't good enough. It's simply that we had a very, very tough time. It's just that there were somebody's whose backgrounds and the way they have come up, we thought was a little, just a little bit better. But everybody who had applied, everybody who was shortlisted was amazing. And those are the stories that we all need to be proud of. And those are the stories that will go on to inspire millions more that will come after us. And thank you to NCPD for having this forum and for these awards to recognize such brilliant talents. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ira. That was nice. Friends, we move on to category B, role model supporter of increased employment opportunities for persons with disabilities. Individuals from within the disability sector or outside who have contributed substantially to the cause of promoting employment opportunities for people with disabilities over an extended period of time. The first awardee in this category is Mr. Ranjan Banerjee, General Manager of Crown Plaza Today, New Delhi, Okhla. Mr. Ranjan Banerjee is a seasoned hospitality professional who has taken several measures and conceptualized innovative ideas to ensure that all employees with disabilities are provided with a conducive and supportive environment at their workplace. Intercontinental Hotels Group has a commitment of hiring persons with disabilities with a minimum of 2.5% of the total employee strength as a contribution towards society, which at Crown Plaza Today, New Delhi, is 3.4% under the leadership of Mr. Ranjan Banerjee. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Ranjan Banerjee.
Namaskar. Thank you NCPEDP for the Helen Keller Award. This is a fantastic recognition for me and my team at Crown Plaza, New Delhi, Okhla. We at our hotel really believe in creating a winning culture with a special emphasis on celebrating differences, which is one of our 5 winning ways in IHG. And while this award goes a long way in celebrating the success stories of what the team has created in our hotel, it is in no way to celebrate success as what it is. The reason, because any awards should work as an inspiration to continue the journey of a lot of efforts, a journey wherein we all work hand in hand, struggle sometimes to ensure that our specially abled colleagues, they settle down and start being productive team members.
Dr. Surinder Mohan Gupta, Global Chief People Officer, Aegis Customer Support Services Private Limited, a StarTech company. As Global Chief People Officer of StarTech, an NYSE-listed entity, Dr. Gupta steers the people management function in respect of multicultural, multilingual, and socio-economically diverse 42,000 strong workforces. Dr. Gupta has cascaded an ambitious goal to employ persons with disabilities equal to 1.5% of the global workforce and has over the last 9 years impacted over 6,000 people with disabilities. A distinguished speaker and thought leader at various forums and associations, he is committed to creating a progressive workplace where employees thrive in a culture of empowerment, inclusion, and diversity. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Surinder Mohan Gupta.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen. I'm extremely honored and humbled to receive the esteemed NCPEDP-Mindtree Helen Keller Award in the category of Role Model Supporter of Increased Employment Opportunities for Persons with Disabilities. This award perhaps is the most prestigious Indian benchmarks for honoring people and organizations who work for empowering persons with disabilities. Thank you, jury, and thank you, NCPEDP, for considering me worthy of this recognition. I'm sure this will go a long way in motivating several others, both the people and the organizations connected directly and the ones who are yet to embark their journey on the path of disability. To my mind, one of the best ways to contribute in this movement is to provide gainful employment opportunities to persons with disabilities and uplift them economically, which has been my focus area in this journey for last 10 years. Thank you, NCPEDP, once again for this recognition.
Dr. Bhavesh Chandubhai Bhatia, founder and president, Oceanic Vision for the Blind Welfare Society. Oceanic Vision for the Blind Welfare Society provides skill development training and employment opportunities for persons with disabilities through training in manufacturing and marketing of different products such as designer candles, scented incense sticks, diyas, candles with wax, ready to use, creating market linkages within the country and overseas. Under Dr. Bhatia's leadership, the organization has established 72 candle manufacturing units across India without any kind of grant or donation from the government or any other private body, and his company, Sunrise Candles, has been successful in employing more than 3,470 trainees with visual disabilities. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Bhavesh Chandubhai Bhatia.
कई दशकों से एम्प्लॉयमेंट दिव्यांगों के लिए सबसे बड़ी समस्या रही है और उसमें हमारे दृष्टिबाधित मित्र तो सबसे सर्वोपरि है। उसी क्षेत्र में गत कई वर्षों से ओसोनिक विजन फॉर द ब्लाइंड वेलफेयर सोसाइटी काम कर रहा है। हमने फैंसी कैंडल्स को अपना जरिया बनाया। इसकी डिजाइन बनाने से लेकर पैकेजिंग और मार्केटिंग तक की पूरी ट्रेनिंग हमारे दृष्टिबाधित मित्रों को बिल्कुल निःशुल्क दी जाती है और इससे जो जबरदस्त एम्प्लॉयमेंट जनरेट हुआ, जिससे हजारों दृष्टिबाधित मित्र अपने पैर पर खड़े हो पाए और एक खुशहाल जिंदगी की ओर अग्रसर हो पाए। हमारे इन सभी दृष्टिबाधित मित्रों की बनाई हुई कैंडल करीब 67 कंट्रीज में एक्सपोर्ट होती है। ये सिंपैथी बेस्ड नहीं, लेकिन ये क्वालिटी बेस्ड प्रोजेक्ट है और इसी को सराहते हुए इस बार एनसीपीईडीपी ने जो माइंडट्री हेलन केलर अवार्ड ओसोनिक विजन को घोषित किया, उसके लिए हम संपूर्ण ऑर्गेनाइजिंग टीम और सभी जूरी मेंबर्स का हृदय की गहराइयों से बहुत धन्यवाद करते हैं। जय हिंद।
Congratulations to all the awardees of category B. Friends, we were to be joined by Shri Dharmendra Pradhan, Honorable Minister of Petroleum and Natural Gas and Steel, but we have received a message that he is unable to join us as the Honorable Prime Minister has called for a special meeting on an urgent matter. Mr. Dharmendra Pradhan has expressed deep regret over his absence. We shall certainly miss him this evening. So we move on to category C, role model companies, NGOs, and institutions. Organizations from the disability sector or outside who have shown their commitment towards promoting equal employment opportunities for people with disabilities. And the first in this category, Atmanirbhar, Ek Challenge from Guwahati, Assam. Atmanirbhar, Ek Challenge makes persons with disabilities economically independent by providing them with employment opportunities. For this, they operate a small tea and grocery packaging unit where only persons with disabilities from the entire disability spectrum, ranging from speech and hearing impaired to cerebral palsy, from locomotor disability to intellectual disabilities, are employed. The organization also teaches self-employable skills like paper bag making, tailoring, and horticulture to its beneficiaries. Ladies and gentlemen, Atmanirbhar Ek Challenge.
Founded in 1996, Atmanirbhar Ek Challenge has been working relentlessly in the field of providing employment opportunity to people with disabilities. At the moment, we have 50 beneficiaries from across the disability spectrum who work at our tea and grocery packaging unit. We are also one of the few NGOs whose beneficiaries are covered under the ESIC and Provident Fund schemes, thus providing social security to our beneficiaries. In this, our 25th year, we are deeply honored to have been recognized by the NCPEDP-Mindtree Helen Keller Awards. This is indeed going to be very encouraging for us, and I hope also encouraging to others so that they go and employ people with disabilities. Thank you so much for recognizing us for this award.
That was Urmila from Atmanirbhar Ek Challenge. Nukkad Tea Cafe Ventures LLP, Raipur, Chhattisgarh. For the last 7 years, Nukkad Tea Cafe has engaged, employed, and empowered people with hearing impairment, speech impairment, transgenders, and trafficking survivors. The Tea Cafe has 4 outlets in 2 cities, and it is India's very first cafe employing 10 transgenders. Ladies and gentlemen, Nukkad Tea Cafe.
Hi, this is Priyank Patel from Nukkad Tea Cafe, and I would like to thank the team of NCPEDP and Mindtree for bestowing us with the prestigious Helen Keller Award. We are a cafe chain that currently works with different communities, different specially able communities of low-income group. We have hearing impaired, transgender, Down syndrome, and dwarf community members working with us. And I guess awards like these are the true morale booster because they encourage us and inspire us to do better. And I personally, on behalf of my entire team, want to thank again the team of NCPEDP and Mindtree for recognizing our efforts and for giving us a reason to rejoice and excel more in the efforts. Thank you so much.
That was Priyank from Nukkad Tea Cafe Ventures. Rehabilitation and AIDS Workshop by Women with Disability, RAWWD, Bangalore, Karnataka. Rehabilitation and AIDS Workshop by Women with Disability, founded in 1997, is one of the largest NGOs in India focused on providing aids for people with physical disabilities. RAWWD was established with the sole aim of assisting and encouraging women with disabilities to set up and run workshops by providing them training to produce quality rehabilitation, prosthetic, and orthotic devices. Ladies and gentlemen, Rehabilitation and AIDS Workshop by Women with Disability.
RAWWD, Rehabilitation AIDS Workshop by Women with Disability, is a Bangalore-based registered trust started in 1997 to promote equality for women with disability.
I am Bharati from Andhra Pradesh. I am second daughter in my family.
RAWWD identified me for the athletic and prosthetic training.
Can train more women with disability and provide prosthetic and orthotic services to people with disability.
Chao Foundation, Noida, UP. Chao Foundation works for the rehabilitation of acid attack survivors. Chao Foundation raised the unheard voices of acid attack survivors through its campaign, Stop Acid Attacks, in 2013. They redefined the definition of rehabilitation by advocacy for the acid attacks, followed by providing medical assistance, legal assistance, education help, and by providing the employment at Cafe Shiro's hangout located in Agra and Lucknow. Ladies and gentlemen, Chao Foundation.
नमस्कार। मैं सबसे पहले शुक्रिया कहना चाहूँगा NCPEDP की टीम का, जिन्होंने हमें रिकॉग्नाइज किया, इस अवार्ड के लायक समझा। मेरे लिए अवार्ड विशेष है क्योंकि ये अवार्ड उस संस्था द्वारा दिया जा रहा है जो उन प्रिंसिपल्स में बिलीव करती है जिन पर छाव फाउंडेशन काम कर रहा है। एसिड अटैक सर्वाइवर्स के रिहेबिलिटेशन पर काम करते हुए जो सबसे बड़ी लर्निंग हमारे पास है वो ये है कि किसी भी सर्वाइवर को अगर वापस उस समाज में सामाजिक न्याय दिलाना है तो जरूरी है कि पहले उसे शिक्षित किया जाए और फिर उसे किसी रोजगार में लगाया जाए। ऐसे करने से बहुत सारे सर्वाइवर्स ने अपनी लाइफ में बहुत कुछ वापस हासिल किया है जो उन्होंने खो दिया था। तो मैं बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया कहना चाहूंगा उस टीम का भी जो इतना अच्छा काम कर रही है। और एक और बात मैं सबका ध्यान इस तरफ आकर्षित करना चाहूंगा कि ये जो कॉज है एसिड वायलेंस और इसके बाद की जो डिसेबिलिटी है इस पर बहुत ही कम चर्चाएं हो रही हैं, तो आप सभी का ध्यान इस ओर आकर्षित करना चाहेंगे। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
That brings us to the end of the 21st NCPEDP-Mindtree Helen Keller Awards. Once again, hearty congratulations to each of the awardees. Friends, we're indeed fortunate to be joined by Mrs. Arundhati Bhattacharya, Chairperson and CEO, Salesforce India. She oversees the growth strategy of the company, playing an integral role in defining Salesforce's relationship with the ecosystem of customers, partners, as well as the community. She has won several accolades, amongst which the world's 100 most powerful women by Forbes, top 50 globally most powerful women in business, and has featured in the world's 50 greatest leaders list by Fortune. And Mr. Som Mittal, Chairman NCPEDP, needs absolutely no introduction yet. I will just speak a little bit. Mr. Som Mittal, former chairman and president of NASSCOM, premier trade body for the IT BPM industry in India, served as a member of the Prime Minister's Committee on National E-Governance and former chairman of the Advisory Council to develop the IT vision for Indian Railways. Besides the corporate sector, Mr. Mittal is closely associated with the social sector. We now have Mrs. Arundhati Bhattacharya in conversation with Mr. Som Mittal. It's over to both of you.
Thank you, Sangeeta, and Arundhati, welcome, and thank you for joining. This has been, very uplifting for us that you are here with us. As somebody who chaired and led SBI, the largest bank in India, and then to lead one of the most iconic software companies. It is quite amazing. I think while you have received awards, the more relevant thing for us is that you kept breaking glass ceilings. You proved that those glass ceilings maybe don't exist or we can break them. And I hope that many of our friends here who are from the disabled sector getting employment, and you've seen many young people there, right? You would see them also taking a leaf from your experience and going higher in what they do. So unless you have some few comments to make, I think we can get into a chat, but leave it to you if you have any opening remarks to make.
So thank you ever so much for having me here. Good evening to all of you. And, glass ceilings, it's true that there are glass ceilings of all kinds, but it's not only in respect of people like me, it's in respect of most people. Many of these glass ceilings are not only actually there, but they're also creations of our own mind, where we restrict ourselves and feel that we are just not capable of doing certain things. And yet, if you have the confidence in yourself, actually speaking, you could do quite a bit. And I think, the people that we are honoring today, the specially abled, I think, for them, this is truly applicable because many of them could actually do a lot more. One of the things that I think we really need to give them is confidence the ability to think, that they can achieve. And that's why I think role models are very important. And there are lots of them, even in today, amongst the specially able, there are so many people who are winning medals. There are people who are actually climbing the Everest. When I look at all of those people and I look at their self-confidence and the kind of ceilings they have broken, I think the ones that I have broken are very simple, compared to that. So truly, I'm telling you, the courage and confidence with which these people have approached their challenges and have managed to find solutions to them is highly inspiring for everybody. Whether they are fully able or not, it's highly inspiring for everybody. And that's one of the reasons why I thought, that it is really good of y'all to have me here. And I made it a point to come in here because the achievements of many of these people is just phenomenal.
Thank you very much. Very well said. So it's not only about providing employment to these people who are facing many challenges, but overcoming them. But there is not only what they do and get the employment, but also to rise. Arundhati, you led the largest bank. You had very large number of branches, ATMs, and you had two kinds of people that you were serving. One were employees, very large employees, and there also were clients. So as a bank, how did you address this whole issue about disability beyond what RBI tells us to do? Right. So I'm sure, SBI is a role model there again. So could you share?
Yeah, I hope SBI is a role model, and I was very honored to get the medal from the president himself. President Pranab Mukherjee at that time gave SBI a medal for the president's medal for having integrated the largest number of specially able people into full productive roles in one particular year. So that year we had integrated about 267 people into fully productive roles. And I think, that's one area that all companies must look at. As you know, there is a government diktat as to the number of specially able people that we need to recruit during every recruitment. I think 4% of the workforce need to be from the specially abled. Now, we are, we are in conformity with the government norms, but what we never really tried to do was try to find ways in which the abilities of these people would be properly utilized. And therefore, many of them were wallflowers. Basically, yes, they would come to office, they would get their salaries, but we would not really be getting anything out of them. Now, this was really a lose-lose situation because the organization was losing by having resources they were not using. But the resources themselves, the people themselves, we were not doing anything for their self-confidence. We were not doing anything for their self-image. And I thought that that was extremely important. So what was done was that we took the help of one of your NGOs, and this NGO is very well known, that is Enable India. And we had them actually go through many of our work processes to understand where in the work stream these people could be fitted in. And once we had that knowledge, we had them create training sessions that would enable these people to actually, do the role that they are doing, and gave them enough equipment. So IT was a big enabler, especially for people who have low vision, low hearing. IT can be a huge enabler. So we bought the necessary tools so that, the things could be blown up on the screen enough for these people to be able to operate. And we trained them on these IT tools, as well as in the process that they were expected to do. But we also trained the group in which they were going to be incorporated, so that the group had the sensitivity to understand how they could help this person to become fully productive. And I would say that it was a great pleasure to see how these people were actually working. And, over a period of time, a number of these groups even told me that actually these people are far more productive than the fully abled people. So, that's a great accolade. And I can try and explain this with an example. So there was a lady, who used to sit in the reception of our Bangalore headquarters, and she had low vision, and she would recognize my footsteps every time I was to enter. So she would stand up and say, "Good morning." So one of those days, she said good morning as I came in, and I wished her. And there was a couple sitting in front of them, a couple along with a child. They were sitting in front of them. So around 12 o'clock, I had to go for a customer visit. I came down and found the couple still there. Okay. So I went out, I did whatever work I needed to do. I returned at about 3:30. That couple was still there. Okay, so I was wondering who on earth these people are, and they're sitting over there. So anyway, I went in, and that around 5:30, I wanted to go out again. So as I was getting out, I found that those people had left, and again she stood up to wish me good evening. And I asked her, who were those people that were sitting in front of you for the whole day? And she said, well, this was a couple that had come to get an operation done at Dr. Devi Shetty's hospital for their child. It was a heart operation. It was to happen the next day. And they had used an SBI ATM card at another bank's ATM. And the card had got swallowed up and the money had not been dispensed. And they were in dire straits because the operation was the next day and they had to put in the money, otherwise the operation wouldn't take place. So I said, then what did you do? Means, how did you manage? She said, no, madam, I did manage. I made 32 phone calls in all. I managed to get a duplicate card for them, and I got them to withdraw the money, and they left with the money. Now, this is the kind of, story that really inspires you and makes your day, because this person, before the training and before the enablement with the JAWS software, this person had not been doing anything at all. Okay. And not only that, the story goes on in the sense that when the promotion exercises came up, the three especially able people actually topped my written test that year from Bangalore. And I was really over the moon because, look at the potential these people had, and look at what the organization was losing by not really using them the way that they could be used.
Thank you so much. These are the stories which are hair-raising. And as you were speaking, I was feeling so elated about this. And I think you've given some messages here. This is not about just giving jobs, it's giving them the right jobs and leveraging them. It's not about building ramps and toilets. It's also supporting beyond the physically disabled. It's also people with vision, hearing, and other impairment. Exactly. And I think the sensitivity that you spoke about, extremely useful. And I hope, people who are listening to this and as NCPDP will take your message and examples, and hope we can keep coming back to you as an ambassador for this big task that we are on. Now from the banking, you moved over to Salesforce and another very large organization. And of course, it's a big move. It's MNC. I heard the chairman of the jury mention earlier that the number of people per 1,000 employed is lower in MNCs than it is in Indian companies. What do you think? Two questions here. What do you think you could be able to do in Salesforce? B, being a technology company, what else can technology do? You mentioned some things that you did in SBI.
So, actually speaking, in Salesforce, we do believe very strongly in equality. And there is a separate, or what should I say, community called Ability Force that specifically looks at the problems of the specially abled to see how they can be fully enabled to do the job that's being given to them. So in India, of course, we have been working with other companies, or rather NGOs, that work with the specially abled in order to see how best we can help them. For instance, Salesforce has what is called a 1 by 1 policy, where we give away 1% of our profits or equity, 1% of our products, and 1% of our time to the non-profit sector. So for instance, in Salesforce India, we have worked with one organization where we have given them our licenses. What it does for them is it actually tracks, the donors and what the money is being used for, and then ensuring that the donors get the right certificates, get the right impact assessments. And what that has done, is it has needed lesser people on the NGO side to look at donor management, and it has improved the number of donors 3x. So that's the kind of thing that we have also been trying to give back to the NGO sector, where they are working with such people in order to ensure that more of their money can be used for actually improving the skills and the other requirements, instead of being used only in admin jobs. Okay, so give our products so that they can be empowered more. But not only that, what has also happened is, as a result, there are two people who got used to the Salesforce platform, and currently they are now employed in our Hyderabad center. So, we can use these platforms for skilling. We can use these platforms for helping out the NGOs. There are several ways of doing this. And I think, we should be pulling on all levers to see how best we can help this sector along.
Well, we'll take up your offer there. And, the assessment we did, we found that a large number of people do get jobs in hospitality and retail. And they, at the end, are at some value chain of this, Salesforce work that you do. So, we'll probably try and see how we can leverage you, and we'll come back to you on this. This is my last question to you. I was also part of the corporate, and I go asking for, funding and support for this. So we not only go for money, but we also go for saying, how do we create awareness, that sensitivity that you spoke about. But, all of them tell me, we have education, skills, livelihood. So they have but all these cut across the disability as well. So the request is, can you please focus on skills for the disabled, education for the disabled, so you can still retain the area that you chose. But it's a big task. Do you have any suggestions how we can rekindle that part? And as somebody said, I think you mentioned it, it's not about sympathy, right? It's a real equal opportunity that we can give. So how do we get that going? And, how can we motivate more and more people to do what you have done?
I think the whole thing starts, right in the beginning with the schools. My daughter used to go to an integrated school called Akshar in Calcutta. And when I first went there, as you know, if you go into a school during break hours, you'll find people running, people meaning children, small children running across the corridors and, creating a big ruckus here, there, everywhere. Now, as I was climbing the stairs, to the principal's office, I found that this is a truly integrated school. So I found one of the fully able child helping another disabled child down the staircase. Okay. And there were these few boys who were running down. And the moment they came across this pair, they slowed down. They all went slowly behind these people, and the child was helped down. Now, this was something that really left an impression on my mind, because what happens is that here the children are learning right from the beginning that the specially abled are not something different. They are part of us, and that they do have abilities, but they may need a little help. And that's all right, because, we are there in order to do that. They should not be treated as something different. And why I'm saying this is, I was also involved with one of the NGOs in Mumbai called Home Creations, where they have these specially abled young adults producing a number of things. And some of them are really good painters. And sometimes, we have schools visiting. And one of these days when I had gone, there was a whole class, that was visiting these people, and they were working alongside whatever these specially abled young adults were doing. And I heard one of the girls, whisper to the other one, to her friend next to her, "Oh my, she paints even better than I do." It's a revelation for them that these people can actually do something better than how you were doing. So, unless and until we expose our children to these things from the very beginning, the, the comfort of including them, the sensitivity towards them, these things will not happen. They can't just suddenly happen one fine morning. You wake up and you become sensitive to all of this. That's not the way it should be. We have to have more and more integrated schools. And the problem then comes down to a question of money. Where is the ability to give counselors, special teachers? We have to crack these questions. It's not something that will happen very simply. See, laws and regulations are all very well. You may give the right to education to everybody. Actually, implementing it is where we have a lacuna. And we need to be able to implement it in the right spirit and in the right manner. Okay, not merely in words, but also in actual facts. And I think, that's the solution to the whole thing. If that solution is not properly worked on, then, whatever we may try from the top, it's not really going to change society as such. The change has to come from the youngest generation. They must be aware of this as they grow up, so that, when they are fully grown, for them, this is something that's a given. That's how it should be. The ability to incorporate everybody into your lives, into your societies, into your homes, be they specially able, be they of other inclinations, whatever it is. But the fact is, that is something, that ability should be nurtured from a very, very early age.
Thank you so much. This has been very uplifting. And I think the last point that you mentioned of getting it started early in life and improving that sensitivity, I think is going to be a very key. While as NCPEDP, we do focus on creating a lot of awareness, we were not, I may be wrong, but I haven't seen much focus that we gave at a school level, but we will see what we can also do. But one of the things that we have picked up from this conversation is that we have a great ambassador in you for the sector, and we will continue to selectively coming back to you for your help and guidance. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Sangeeta, over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Mittal. Thank you both Mrs. Arundhati Bhattacharya and Mr. Mittal for that very enriching, I would say almost eye-opening conversation. Fantastic examples given by ma'am as well. Thank you. So now to come to a close for the award ceremony, I'd like to request Mr. Som Mittal to present the closing remarks.
Thank you, Sangeeta. First again, congratulations to all the winners. What was so nice to see, there are so many young people that were engaged in this. And I think to what ma'am said, I think they will become the torch bearers for us. So we applaud all your efforts. And also of those who did apply, there is a great amount of work happening. So those who were also contesting for these awards, congratulations to them. I also wanted to thank the jury and NCPEDP team for making this happen during these days, and of course Panish and Mindtree for their continued support over these years, not only in terms of how you support us, but your guidance as well. And your team, Panish, has been very engaged with NCPEDP's effort. Very quickly, I think a lot has been said about the pandemic and what it has done, but I think it did reveal a couple of things, right? NCPEDP did a recent report entitled Locked In and Left Behind. It revealed that 75% of the people with disabilities face acute problems during the lockdown. And these problems were, obviously, when we say problems, a lot of people face them, were more than many others. And that means 5.5 crore people. As the title of the report suggests, they were not only locked in, but left behind. And it is during this crisis that the problems get surfaced up. The problems included access to finance, pensions, livelihood, education, healthcare, transport, things that we generally take for granted. And many of us who had problems in pandemic time had relatively better access than people with disabilities. As they say, every pandemic puts us behind some time, and I'm sure we will recover. But how we recover and how we revive will actually depend on what we do. It's not going to happen. The new normal or coming back, people talk about the U curve, V curve, and whatever that may happen to the economy. But what has happened today for those who were were not part of the system and got really left behind, I think it will happen only if we put in those extra efforts. So leaving no one behind is the key to the resilient and sustainable society. And I think that means that we need to prioritize those actions for the most marginalized. On the other hand, pandemic made some changes as well. They provided us many opportunities in this disaster. As was mentioned earlier, work from home, virtual events, including performances, concerts. Right now, we've just launched a virtual museum, which is going to be the most accessible museum. And I was very enthused to see that all the 7 days, this is being made accessible through sign language and in every other way that it can be done. So the possibilities that technology is now bringing in is more, and I think it's accelerated the use of technology for this. What we can make and break the persons from disability lies in accessibility. So websites, virtual platforms, mobile apps, television programs, OTT platforms that actually help many of us during this period to be accessible. I'm sure as they move forward and do make it accessible to the disabled as well, I think exclusion would soon be history. This also extends to workplaces, reasonable accommodation and accessibility that we spoke about earlier, equal opportunity. I think are areas that we are, but it is still limited thus far. The chairman of the jury spoke about the Right of Persons Disability Act, and we all celebrated when the act was passed because it is a path-breaking act. At NCPEDP, we have done a lot of ways that we could take this forward, but I still believe that a lot of it yet is to be implemented. So you heard the Madam Bhattacharya speak about this, that it is okay to create acts and so on, but it's another matter to implement it and move it with not only the letter of it, as Mr. Saurabh Chandra mentioned, but with the spirit of it. One reason is the lack of awareness of its provisions within the government as well, and also the private sector. And the second is not knowing what to do and how. So while the what has been still given, the how, which is how do we make our content accessible, how do we identify potential employees with disabilities, how do we make our workforces, I think this is the task that is ahead. NCPEDP understands its responsibility and will play a critical role along with all our partners to do this. We have developed a model for equal opportunity policy and a manual on reasonable accommodation. We will continue to spread that. It's been translated in many languages, but I would say it's still a beginning. We also created awareness of the best practices through awards like the NCPEDP-Mindtree Helen Awards. It's not only to recognize the work, but to enthuse many other people to do this. And this is widely spread. So, we are very grateful to the Mindtree team, Mr. Devashish Chatterjee, Fanish Rao, Abraham Moses, who, as I said, It's not only the funding and supporting and naming this award, but also their support to our programs and also to all the awardees that have done this outstanding work. We do produce a brochure recognizing all these. This year, all these awardees are featured on our website, as are the previous years. Should any one of you want a physical copy, please write to NCPEDP, we'll send it out. But we do realize that award is a milestone here to recognize those, and I'm sure the awardees would further this, and they will be more enthused to take this further and have many more of their breed come in. So thank you all very much, and as always, Sangeeta ji, thank you for very, very ably conducting this program during COVID time. So thank you all, and hope that this program would be a step further for all of us to act on what is our job, our responsibility towards people with disabilities. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mittal, and everyone else. Thank you very much for attending this. It was really enriching, as it always is, and congratulations to all the awardees once again. So stay safe and stay healthy so that the good work can continue. Thank you.